Gauranga, and we'll go a little more detail. Yeah, we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as part of the series of Gauri Purnima, preparation for Gauri Purnima, which is the appearance of Lord Gauranga or Lord Caitanya. So this is the first session about Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is talking about this book, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. You just now heard Premdam Prabhu talking about it. It's a set of 9 books. So it's a biography and teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So who's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Some of you, I believe you are coming first, I don't know, you already know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If anybody is new also, it is always important to know who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So on the altar, there are 3 portions of the altar. The middle altar, you see Radharani and Krishna in the middle altar. And this side of the altar, that is towards your left, is to your extreme left, close to me, is Lord Nityananda, who is nothing but Lord Balarama coming as Nityananda in this Kali Yuga. That is Nityananda. He is also called as Nitai. And then to his left and to our right is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is also called as Lord Gauranga. Gauranga or Chaitanya or Nimai. So that is the personality. So his birthday is coming up. We call it Appearance Day on March 24th. This is a big celebration for us. So we're preparing our consciousness. Devotees read about the personality before their appearance and meditate on their qualities. So whenever we meditate on the qualities of great personalities or the Supreme Lord in his different incarnations, we actually manifest those qualities. That is one. And then when we pray to those great personalities, they'll give a lot of mercy to us. So generally, festivals means we prepare for festivals with the right consciousness, so we get the maximum benefit. In devotional life, anything we do with consciousness invested, then we get that much benefit accordingly. Otherwise, if you do mechanically, then the benefit is very little. But still, there is benefit. That's the beauty of the bhakti process. So that's why we understand why behind everything we do. That way, we appreciate the value of whatever we're doing properly. And generally is described, if you know the why, then you get the conviction, what you want to do, what you need to do. For example, for achieving any goals, material goals or spiritual goal, it's very important to have the conviction on why we want to achieve one goal. Because then when we have that conviction, why we want to achieve that goal, then what we need to do, how we need to do, we can figure out. So that it starts with conviction like that. So that's why we always emphasize understanding about the philosophy and the reasons and purpose behind what we are doing. Otherwise, we can just start with chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That will give all the strength anyway. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even if you don't want to listen to why, so after chanting Hare Krishna a few days, then you'll feel you want to learn more like that. So that's the beauty of the process of bhakti. So this Chaitanya Charitamrita, so I'll go briefly introduction. One more. This picture is showing on the top. Good, okay. Yeah, the top is showing Lord Krishna along with his associates, gopis, in the top picture. That is in the Goloka Vrindavan. That is a spiritual world, the eternal place where many devotees aspire to go to have a wonderful relationship with Krishna, to have loving exchanges with Krishna. Because Krishna is such a personality who can exchange love with each one of us. And he doesn't have any limitation. Like I may be paying attention to one person, I cannot pay attention to the second person. But Krishna is such a wonderful personality that he can give attention to each one of us. And he can give what each one of us need to be fully happy in our relationship with Krishna. So that is where we are aspiring to go. You probably heard Premdam Prabhu describing about Bhagavad Gita, how he talked about surrender unto me, Bhagavad Gita 1866, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Many of you know that verse. So he talked about surrendering to him. Then he will take care of everything. But many people have doubt. What does surrender mean? Oh, how do you surrender? What do you do to surrender? How does it physically look like? Can you tell me the practical aspects? Like that they ask. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came. So Lord Krishna personally came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to tell us how does it look like practically. So that way we can follow in his footsteps like that. So that is the beauty of Lord Chaitanya's incarnation. In the bottom picture, you are seeing Lord Chaitanya dancing and singing. This is called Sankirtan, or chanting together the holy names of Krishna. So this is a beautiful process. He inaugurated this beautiful process. It doesn't mean that it did not exist before. He made it popular. He made it clear that this is what you need to do to perfect your life in this age. Chanting the holy name is the best thing you can do like that. So that's what he's showing here. One devotee is there with Mridanga, and some devotees are with Kartal, some are dancing. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with all these associates, he gave Krishna Prema, the fruit of all the devotion that all of us are doing, very freely and unconditionally, without any qualifications, not seeing any qualification. Remember in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, you surrender unto me, that is the qualification. Then I will free you from all sin. But Lord Chaitanya is so merciful that he said, you just chant the holy name. I will give you Krishna Prema, highest of Krishna Prema, the Prema that gopis have for Krishna like that. That is the beautiful nature of our Lord Chaitanya. And in this age, he is also the Yugavatara. That means he is the one who is giving the process for this age for us to perfect our life. And he will assist us. He will guide us. He will send out the right inspiration for us. So that's why devotees, anything they do, they keep their Guru, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, in their mind. Because only through the mercy of Guru, we can get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Only with the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we will get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Only with the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Only with the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we can get the mercy of Lord Krishna. So that's why we always keep Lord Chaitanya on our heart, whatever we're doing. And in this yuga, it is very important to chant the holy name. So that's what he came to give us. We'll talk more about it. This is the introductory slide. And I just wanted to show these three scriptures to introduce this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita wonderful literature. Because this is the biography and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So you'll hear a series of classes next 4 weeks from wonderful personalities, especially Chaitanya Charan Prabhu and Rompasa Maharaj is coming. I don't know who's doing that one more week in between, but you'll have a blast with hearing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and hearing different pastimes from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So it's a nice literature. So lot of you must know Bhagavad Gita, this column Bhagavad Gita, right? Okay, it's advancing that, good. And then some of you know what is Srimad Bhagavatam, and some of you know what is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I just want to do baseline, so everybody understands this literature in little bit more understanding. So my goal at the end of today is all of you know what this Chaitanya Charitamrita set is all about, and what does it contain. So that way, even without reading few chapters of this book, or for a few months, you can understand the overall gist of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That way, hopefully you'll be inspired to bring Chaitanya Charitamrita into your home, number one. More importantly, open the book, open the cover, open the book and read regularly. So that is my inspiration. So hopefully some of you will be inspired to read regularly Chaitanya Charitamrita. So going to this table here, what you see is Bhagavad Gita is the words of Krishna that Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra before the Mahabharata war started. Many of you know that. So that's the words personally Krishna spoke. It's such a valuable literature. It's considered the essence of the whole Vedic literature. Everything is packed with philosophy in Bhagavad Gita. In fact, many answers in life that we'll be looking for, what decision we make, are also rooted in, can be rooted in Bhagavad Gita. Just by learning Bhagavad Gita principles, we can make decisions nicely, we can understand the purpose of our life, we can work properly, we can take care of our family properly, all the things we can do nicely. However, that is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, is there is the content. And then Bhagavad Gita begins in the second chapter. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, when Arjuna, most of you know, Arjuna was puzzled whether to fight or not, because he had two dharmas, two duties. One is Kshatriya dharma, that means as a Kshatriya or as a warrior, as a military person, he is supposed to fight. That is one duty he had. And the second duty simultaneously he had is, as a member of the family, he needs to respect the family members, elder family members. That's called Kula dharma. So on the other side of the battle were his own grandfather, his own military teacher, his own relatives. So he was torn between these two duties. One duty is saying you need to fight. Another duty is saying no, you should not even say verbally anything disrespectful to elders. How can he even fight? So he was torn between those two decisions. Then Krishna gives a whole set of knowledge. In the chapter 2, he gives a whole summary of Bhagavad Gita, and then he elaborates systematically. So he starts with this first thing. Who are we? Identity. Because many of us do what we do in our life based on what we think we are or who we think we are. For example, I'm a husband, I need to take care of my wife. I'm a father, I need to take care of my children. I'm a congregation member, so I need to serve in the temple. I'm a son, so I need to take care of my parents. So if I don't have that identity assumption right now, functional identity is called, then I don't do those things. Similarly, now Arjuna has two functional identities. One is I'm a Kshatriya, one is I'm a member of this Kaurava dynasty, like that. So that's why he can do the duties. Now, because these two are at a higher level, not a foundation level, but functional level, he had this challenge. So Krishna goes deeper into what is my foundational identity for all of us. Foundational identity for all of us is we're a spirit soul, and we're a part and parcel of Krishna and servant of Krishna. So he goes to the fundamental level that we are a spirit soul. And spirit soul is eternal. That means we're not affected by what we think. Somebody says something, I'm not affected as spirit soul. Temporarily it's causing some damage potentially, but not so much. So like that he goes to the fundamental identity so that Arjuna can decide for himself. Because Krishna doesn't force him. You have to do like this. So he's giving the knowledge starting with the identity of the soul. And then he describes with different knowledge how to do the work without getting attached to the results, how to do it as a service to the Lord. So many teachings he gives in the Bhagavad Gita. And then finally it ends with this topic like we discussed. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. That's the final conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, he gives message. And then Srimad Bhagavatam is literature by Srila Vyasadeva, who is the author of the entire Vedic literature. And he writes it in the maturity of his devotional service. So Srimad Bhagavatam is considered like the fruit of the entire Vedic knowledge. It's so sweet and it's so beautiful because it is not only philosophy, but philosophy like Bhagavad Gita explained in sweet story format. So that's why you probably notice not only children, I myself and many of you might relate to that we like to hear a story. In fact, even in corporate world, when you're asking to give presentation, they tell you, you make a story out of it. So it's not like I tell 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 points like that. So we all like stories. So Srimad Bhagavatam is such a beautiful literature that you get to hear a story and you remember the story. Story has actually a lot of benefits. That's another topic altogether. Story can be easily remembered and it touches the heart emotional level, not just at the head level. So when the story touches us, then we remember the example and we teach the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita in action. So that is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. So with lot of stories like that. And so that's why he's showing the character that is explained through character and past tense of Krishna and his wonderful devotees like that. And when we hear about example of devotees, then we can see what are they aspiring for, what are their desires, what are they doing in their life. Like that we can learn from their stories like that. And then Srimad Bhagavatam, interestingly, this is a typo, is the first canto, second chapter. So this says Dharma Project, that verse is talking about rejecting all cheating religion and get to the essence, bhakti. That's how Bhagavatam starts. That means don't waste your time with dharma, artha, kama. That means sense gratification, religion for getting something, and then dharma, artha, getting money to enjoy sense gratification. Don't worry about all that. Directly go to the moksha. Directly go to bhakti, that too. Like that, it starts there, directly at bhakti. And then it ends at, if you notice, this is the last chapter, 12th canto. It talks about chanting the holy name, which is the means to destroy all sinful reactions, and more than that, to achieve the perfection of life, like that. So chanting, for us, we all chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the best thing we can do in this age. In fact, there are devotees who have explored this idea, how everything we are doing in devotion service, whether we are hearing class right now, whether I'm speaking class right now, whether we're seeing the deity form of the Lord right now, or we observe the arti done by Pujari a few minutes ago, whether we're doing kirtan, everything is connected to this chanting of the holy name. In fact, even relationships between devotees are meant to put us to chant the holy name with nice qualities of humility, tolerance, and dependence on Krishna. Because only we can chant with the holy name with the heart to please Krishna, only when our life is surrounded in such a way, life is done in such a way that everything is favorable for the chanting of the holy name. So that is why Bhagavatam ends with the chanting of the holy name, which is the perfection for this age, how to get perfection with this age. Now going to the literature of this today's discussion, Sri Caitanya Caritamrita. So this is describing the mind of Krishna. Previously we discussed, Bhagavad is discussing words of Krishna, Bhagavatam is describing the activities of Krishna and his devotees, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is discussing the mind of Krishna. That is more intimate literature. So we'll hear more about it, but essentially the content in this book is the process of devotion service, bhakti. How do we do the bhakti? And what are the practices in bhakti? How does the bhakti progress from one stage to another stage? How do we progress in our chanting? All that is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita literature. And nicely, it's a blend of Bhagavad Gita philosophy and stories like Srimad Bhagavatam. And practically demonstrated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself as a devotee. He came as a devotee and he demonstrated practically with his personal example. And with all the associates, he was exchanging love with all the devotees like that. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita starts with, if you notice, Bhagavatam ended at chanting the holy name. Chaitanya Charitamrita starts there. I'll come to teach you the process of chanting by practicing myself. Not that we're going to tell you need to chant, you need to chant. He's practically showing the chanting. Not only that, we can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the life of Lord Chaitanya, what benefits he saw by chanting nicely. So when we see not only somebody is chanting, that's good inspiration for us. Have association, we also chant. But more inspiration is, what are they getting by chanting? So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can see the final benefit also. He has so much happiness, bliss with ecstatic love is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating in Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially toward the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then it ends towards where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is having that ecstatic symptoms. He forgot himself throughout the day and night. He is measuring ecstatic love for Krishna. So we can personally understand how is it like. So some devotees ask me, okay, you're chanting now. You're chanting 10 years. What happened? After 20 years, what will happen? So what is the fruit? How does it look like? Tell me. That's all in the Chaitanya Charitamrita literature. So this is the introduction for Chaitanya Charitamrita. So because we are going to celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, especially the appearance day coming up, this is a interesting way of looking at his life on one side, and another side, looking at these 9 books, what do they have? Like that. So it's a combination of both of them. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived on this planet for 48 years. So during that 48 years, the first 24 years, he was living like most of us, ordinary person, like doing household life. He went to school like us, he did a job as a teacher, he had a family, he had a wife, all that he did like us only. That is the first 24 years of household life. And then, I'm not going to the details, I'm giving a bird's eye view, high-level view. So then, while doing that, at the end of the 24 years, he actually get to transformation phase, where he gets initiated. He commits himself to a guru, a spiritual master, and he takes the teachings and he personally demonstrates how to practice bhakti. And then the next 24 years of his life, where he took renunciation of life, order of renunciation. That means like sannyas, most of you might know, person with saffron cloth and a danda usually they carry. So the renunciation life he took, next 24 years. And within the 24 actually, Caitanya Charitamrita is beautiful for these 24 years. Because the first 24 years are more elaborately described in another literature called Chaitanya Bhagavat, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. This Caitanya Charitamrita is written by author Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So, in this first 6 years of this second 24 years, he went to South India tour. Why? He was so compassionate. He wanted to give this love, this fruit of bhakti to everybody. Whether they're qualified or not doesn't matter. So he gave that to everybody. And then the next, out of 24, 6, if you take out 18 years. In the next 18 years, he primarily stayed in a place called Jagannath Puri. Most of you know, in India, close to Orissa city, Orissa state. So Jagannath Puri. And within Jagannath Puri, again that is broken into 6 years and 12 years. So these 6 years, he was showing us by personal example, how do we associate with devotees? Like that, with loving exchanges. We can learn so many things. How to be with devotees this way, how not to be with devotees this way, how to respect devotees, how to take care of devotees, how to shelter devotees, and how devotees are, if somebody criticizes, how do we take it, how do we encourage devotees, how do we maintain standards in devotional life. So many things we can learn from this section. It's one of the beautiful sections I like. Then the next section is the fruit of bhakti, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally shows symptoms of what benefit is getting by this practice of bhakti and by this practice of chanting like that. So that is the last 12 years. So on the right hand side you are seeing some overview about Chaitanya Charitamrita. It has 11,000 verses. You probably know Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. It has 11,000 verses. But the beauty of it is because this story, unlike Bhagavad Gita, it's easy to get through and easy to understand. Easy to understand the essence, what we need to apply in our life also. And then, so the other, actually, this is very inspiring. Other, how did he get this content for this? Theoretically got content from two sources. Murari Gupta, who observed the first part of his life before sannyas ashram, and then from Swarup Damodar, who was a constant associate of Lord Chaitanya for the second part of life. That is a theoretical content. But how did that reach other is interesting. I'm not going to detail considering that time, but essentially Lord Chaitanya's personal heart was revealed to his close associate called Swarup Damodar. So that close associate Swarup Damodar had a mentee. His name is Raghunath Das Goswami, who is one of the 6 Goswamis. He gave that knowledge to Raghunath Das Goswami. And then that Raghunath Das Goswami, from his heart, he shared with the Goswamis, including Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the other. So, in a sense, what we are reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita is Lord Chaitanya's heart and what Lord Chaitanya is personally experiencing like that. So that is what is the beauty of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, and then I wanted to mention this briefly. You'll probably hear in many of the classes, especially on the Gaura Purnima, March 24th, more elaboration on this part. We already discussed why Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya briefly. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the initial chapters, it describes who are his friends, who are his associates, and also describes why did he come in two categorical ways. One is the external reasons. That means for somebody external, somebody who's not within the family, within the close circle of Chaitanya, what is the purpose he came like that. So those are listed here. Advaita Acharya, who is one of the 4 close associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he personally invited, my dear Lord, I see everybody is suffering in this world. Please come and deliver them. Like that he requested them. It is described, he worshipped the Shaligram Sila with Ganges water and Tulsi, a sacred plant, you see on the altar also, With that, he worshipped with a particular mantra. And then he chanted, loudly called, my dear Lord, please come, like that. That is one reason why Lord Chaitanya came. Interestingly, whatever Lord does has multiple reasons to it. When Lord does one activity, he takes care of multiple things simultaneously. So he doesn't have to do one thing first and then do second, then three to accomplish three things. Sometimes he accomplishes all three things in one activity like that. So that's why we are seeing multiple reasons for his appearance. Second thing is, he came to teach the Yuga Dharma. What is the main way to achieve perfection in this age? Yuga Dharma, a Nama Sankirtana, chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then he wants to give love of Godhead to us. Not just love of Godhead at the lower levels, the highest perfection of our love of Godhead, which is exhibited by the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. So that love he wanted to give us. For that he came. And then the three internal reasons also described. These are little more sweeter. Basically, he wanted to experience what Srimati Radharani is experiencing in short. So they expressed in these three bullets. One is, he wants to taste the happiness and bliss that Srimati Radharani is experiencing by exchanging love with Krishna. So that is one thing. Second thing is, he wanted to understand the sweetness of qualities that Krishna has. So like how, because he himself, he cannot understand his qualities because his qualities are so sweet and so unlimited. So he wants to experience like a third person. How is she experiencing my qualities like that? That gives her so much happiness like that. That is the second thing. Third thing is, he wants to experience the happiness that Srimati Radharani herself feels inside by exchanging love with Krishna like that. So this is a brief only, because understanding that Gaura Purnima lecture usually is on this main topic. So I didn't want to elaborate more. So you'll hear more on the topic. Most of you may not be able to read all these words in this chart. As long as you can read the headings, that will be great. If not, I will still summarize them what it is. So now, just by understanding this chart little bit, so you got the overview of the whole 9 books of Chaitanya Caritamrita in summary. Not the details, not the principles we can learn and apply, not the practical details, not the stories, but the essential flow of Chaitanya Caritamrita. Because when we understand the flow of a book, then we can appreciate what is being said, what will be there in the book. So then we value that literature. And then we want to read that literature like that. That's why I'm sharing this flow also. So the initial chapters of Chaitanya Caritamrita start with invocation. Invocation means seeking blessings and giving benedictions also for whoever is reading literature. He gives a benediction that whoever reads Chaitanya Caritamrita in this section, that they will establish Lord Chaitanya in their heart. Such a nice benediction is given in this section. And then later we also see Lord Chaitanya is so pleased when we are reading his exchanges with his close devotees like that. So there are so many things, and also we'll achieve the perfection of life just by reading Chaitanya Caritamrita. That is there in the later sections of Chaitanya Caritamrita. So that is the invocation section, where along with these blessings, along with these things, he also introduces the different associates of Lord Chaitanya. You probably heard this mantra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So these personalities are introduced, their identity is given to us, so we understand who are they. Are they just friends who are playing with each other? No, they are actually exalted personalities, each one of them. Like that he introduces in the first invocation section. And then he also gives the introduction of how did he happen to write this literature? Why is he writing this literature? Who asked him to write this literature? Like that. That we briefly discussed earlier. How from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, different devotees it came to, and then finally it came to the author like that. So then, the next section is about incarnation. This section is also very valuable. This is a section where we'll see about how Lord Chaitanya's incarnation is talking about what was the situation at that time when Lord Chaitanya appeared, and how do we recognize somebody says incarnation. I heard in India many people say now, I'm Kalki Avatara, I'm this, I'm that, like that. So how do we qualify them? There's a nice acronym, Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Swami Maharaj writes, it's called SAFE. So one is called scriptures, that means if somebody says I'm God, is identified in scriptures. I mean, scriptures tell who is his father, where is he going to appear, what does he do. It's given in scriptures. It's nothing fancy, clear. Then A is astrological calculations and attributes of the Lord. That means all the planet situations, they're all aligned in a particular way, auspicious for Lord's appearance. Even though Lord doesn't need them to appear, but they align to please the Lord, to create a favorable atmosphere for the Lord to appear, like that. That is the A aspect. Out of safe, S is scriptures, A is astrological and attributes. In great personalities' hands, especially the Supreme Lord, there are symbols on the hands and also symbols on his lotus feet. Those are also described in the scriptures. And then F is following authorities. The great authorities like our Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, great Acharyas, they can understand scriptures and they can authoritatively share, yes, he is an incarnation, like that. So then that is F, following authorities. And then E is extraordinary activities. Somebody cannot just understand what is in our mind. That is not the extraordinary. That is just a mystic power. Somebody can get a apple from Kashmir sitting here. That is great, but that's only material mystic power. Somebody can cure your disease. Somebody can tell what is going to happen in the future for your life. That's all material things only. But the Supreme Lord should do something very, very extraordinary. Like we know Lord Krishna lifted Govardhan Giri at the age of small 7-year-old boy. He lifted Govardhan Giri like that. Some extraordinary things he should have done. So that is, principles are described here, along with how Lord Chaitanya appears, how he appeared as a small boy, his name was Nimai, and how he was pleasing everybody through his childhood pastimes is described. The next section is education. How Supreme Lord himself took to a teacher, he learnt to set an example from a teacher, and then how he actually shows up his scholarship also in these early childhood days. They are also sweet, describing how even there, when he's defeating another person in argument, he stays in a humble mood and he doesn't trash them. He keeps the dignity of the person also, while taking care of, still smashing their pride like that. That's there in this section of education. And the next section is transformation. This is where Lord Chaitanya takes the Diksha or spiritual initiation from his Guru to show personal example for us. And then he starts to propagate start propagating the holy name to everybody, the Yuga Dharma. That's what initially starts. More propagation comes a little bit more later. Then you see in the 5th section where he took the sannyas ashram. Again, for the benefit of all of us, all the people living at that time, he wanted to make sure at that time everybody respects sannyasis so nicely, unlike now probably. So then he wanted to take sannyas ashram, so just by respecting they are getting benefited. So this is the beauty of Krishna and his devotees. They are always looking how can they benefit others. Even sometimes we may appear as fool to get help from others. That is only to benefit others. Like that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to benefit others. So that pastimes are described here in enunciation. Next section is propagation. This is where, in the Madhya Lila, he went to propagate this Yuga Dharma in the entire South India. He very distributed love of God to everybody he saw like that. And the next, that section is also beautiful. He does some of the miracles that I described, how curing the leprosy disease. Some miracles also he does as part of it. But best miracle is giving Krishna Prema to everybody. That is the best miracle he does. And this section also nice things about 2 lessons to learn. How do we read scriptures? How do we follow Guru? How do we take care of the family also and then practice bhakti also? All those practical lessons are there in this section. Then going to the aspiration section, Lord Chaitanya wanted to go to Vrindavan. Like many of you might have aspirations. I'm sure a lot of you went to Vrindavan. And some of you were really wanting to go to Vrindavan as much as possible, as long as possible, like that. So Lord Chaitanya aspired to go to Vrindavan many times. For circumstances wise, as part of his Leela, he could not go. First 2 times he tried. Finally, he makes it to Vrindavan. And then he discovers the holy places, especially Sri Radhakund, which is most dear to him and most dear to Lord Krishna himself. So Radhakund he discovers and he takes bath and he asks his Goswamis to excavate all the holy places so all of us can benefit. The many holy places we see now, we can learn about them by reading this section of Caitanya Caritamrita. And going to the next section is the organization, where he comes back from South India tour, and this is a section where a lot of devotees love Radhayatra pastimes. Most of you might know Jagannath Radhayatra. So there are intimate details of Jagannath Radhayatra, like what happens before Radhayatra starts, what happens during Radhayatra, what happens after Radhayatra. Not just Radhayatra, many of us might think pulling the cart where Lord is there. That much only people like me know. But this literature, when we read, we can understand details. How did Lord celebrate? Like that also. And then this section also, we hear how do we celebrate festivals? What is the mood in celebrating festival? How do we develop teamwork? How does an exemplary leader behave? What examples he shows to others practically? All that is given in this section. Going to the next section is his appreciation. This section is very nice, where he's appreciating devotees and is having loving exchanges with devotees personally. This is a section where we can learn Vaishnava etiquette, Vaishnava culture. How do we engage with other devotees? How do we not try to cross another devotee? How do we encourage other devotees? How do we appreciate other devotees? All that is given in this section. Then the next section is correction. He also wants to show what is right, what is wrong in devotion service. So as part of that, he gives practical examples through some devotees, what we are not supposed to do also. And all through stories, so it's easy to understand. Otherwise, if somebody tells you should not do this, you should not do this, I will listen here, I will throw it here. But because it's coming through stories, we can remember it and we apply in our life. So next section is intoxication. This is the fruit he's experiencing. He's demonstrating. First of all, remember we told he want to taste the bliss and the sweetness Radharani is tasting, the qualities of Krishna is tasting. All that is given in this section. How is he tasting? How is he feeling? All that is described here. And the final section is the instruction, which we know Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote 6 Shastakam prayers for us. So those prayers, 8 prayers, are given in this section. I'm giving the prominent things. Of course, there are a lot more things, wonderful things in this section. So we can hear 6 Shastakam prayers in this section. How? They are like roadmap for chanting, how to improve our chanting, like that. So that is the section. This is the overall flow of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hope you have some appreciation for this literature now. I have probably another 5-10 minutes. I will describe few more benefits of Chaitanya Charitamrita, going through it regularly, this literature for us. First of all, it gives value education for us and for our children also. So children, many times if you tell them don't do this, don't do that, it's very hard for them to swallow. But when they hear story, they are inspired by the stories and they want to emulate that pastimes. For example, my children in the childhood, when they're fighting, they heard that Balaram has the highest strength. So they said, I am Balaram, you are Krishna. No, I am Balaram, you are Krishna. Like that. For them, it's not just a story. They understood. They want to emulate that. Like that, there are wonderful stories to give values to our children. Because as the children grow, they make their own decisions. So we need to equip them with the right understanding, right values. Those can come from scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, through stories like that. So next one is ideal relationships. So like I described in the Madhya Lila and the beginning of Antya Lila, lot of Vaishnava relationships are exemplified by Chaitanya's dealings with other devotees. That we can see and we can learn how to behave with superiors, how to have friendships with peers, how to treat a junior or somebody who's coming new. How do we help them? Like that is discussed. And then celebrating festivals we talked about. There are many festivals celebrated. What is the right mood in celebrating? Not just having some fun, but what is the right mood, like that also is described. And then learning Vaishnava culture through beautiful stories are there. Like Sakshi Gopal pastime, I love it. My children also love it. This is a story of where Lord personally comes to help his devotees to maintain the religious principles of truthfulness. So Sakshi means witness. Gopal. So witness Gopal is the story. So like these stories, will help us to understand the importance of keeping religious principles even in difficult circumstances. How do we balance it? Like that is described. And how Lord helps us in doing that. That also comes out of this section of pastime. And then through Rupa Goswami pastime, we hear how Lord loves when we have nice qualities. So then we see, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved Rupa Goswami because he has humility. Oh, I also want to be humble. Then Krishna will love me also. Like that we'll get inspiration and we'll develop right aspirations. Then we can grow in bhakti. Because when we have humility, we can chant nicely. Most of you probably know the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's verse, third verse of Sikshashtaka. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi saisnuna, amanena mardana, kirtaniya sadahari. So they're all interlinked. When we develop humility and respect, that will help our chanting. When we develop chanting purity, then we can respect others. We can develop humility like that. Similarly, corrections are described in Choda Haridas pastime and Ramachandra Puri pastime, where criticizing Vaishnavas is very detrimental for our spiritual life like that. And then dealing with opposite sex properly is also shown through a story here. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with a personal example, how he honors guests, how he receives guests, how he ensures that accommodation is there for them, how he ensures that they have prasadam arrangements. All that is shown in this section. And then Haridas Thakur example also will see how bhakti helps us to be determined in whatever we want to do. So we are not distracted with this or that also. And then we learn about different holy places in India. Like normally, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went in South India tour, so many holy places. I don't know many of them. But when we read the scripture, then we understand, oh, this is a nice place, I would like to visit someday. Like that, we learn something about these holy places also. And then Jagannath Rajatra, we talked about it earlier, in intricate details about it. And then beauty of it is, through stories, we're learning the tattva of bhakti also. Like the holy name, why we should chant, how we should chant, how do we grow in bhakti, all the tattva is given. And why we should do what we should do is given. And also, the practices, how we should do, what we should do is also given. That's the beauty. And you probably heard Premdam Prabhu describe the way this literature gives it is in a simple way from essence from many scriptures. You will find some Bhagavad Gita verses also in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam verses are there. Bhakti Rasamrita, the Rupa Goswami literature verses are there. Ujjwal Nilamani, Rupa Goswami literature verses are there. So many of them I cannot read now at this stage. But because they are in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I have the opportunity to read them. So that's the beauty of this literature. So if you Sri Radha Madhav ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki jai. So I'll take a few more seconds, not too much time. So if you like something from this class, the credit goes to all these wonderful devotees that you see on the slide. And if there is some mistakes I made in my understanding of what they said, what they wrote, all the credit goes to me, bad credit goes to me. So I wanted to pause here to see if anybody has any reflections on what you heard so far today. Some inspirations you got, anything from Chaitanya, hearing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Charitamrita, like that. Please share. Yeah, this is your time to share. It will help others also. If somebody was sleeping, they will wake up to hear this place. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Very nice question. And so that helps me to add some point that I missed also in the presentation. Wonderful question, Prabhuji. So spiritual life is so wonderful. It is not a yes or no answer. It's a yes or no answer. So I will elaborate. So you're right that Bhagavad Gita is the first literature. We need to thoroughly study. And then Srimad Bhagavatam is the second literature. We need to thoroughly study. And then Chaitanya Charitamrita, the last literature, we need to thoroughly study. That progression will help us to relish Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita more deeply. That is correct understanding. However, it also is interesting to know when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll appreciate Bhagavatam more nicely. So that way, the interplay is also there. So devotees, what they do is like now Gaura Purnima is coming up. So they take this opportunity to take some section of Chaitanya Charitamrita to read like this. That is good to do. But systematic study, you can do it in this order like that. That way, Lord Prabhupada used to give an example of ice candy. So ice candy, you can lick here, anywhere. It's still sweet only like that. So initially to get the taste and get a hook, I like it. For that we take some juicy section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, not the most philosophical section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then whatever you like, take that section and get some taste. Then you like to do some little bit hard philosophy also you want to go through, because you want to go to the juicy section next. So both are correct, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, yeah. Yes, Sandeep Prabhuji. Yeah, systematic study means like every verse understanding the meaning, how I can apply like that systematically. That is usually done after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhuji. Then you can relish more. But no harm in reading now also to get initial hook. Then I want to study Chaitanya nicely, so I'll finish my Bhagavatam nicely now. So we get the inspiration like that. So there are many literatures our acharyas wrote, we want to read. To get to them, I want to have the foundation properly. Then my foundation will not shake. That's why we read Bhagavad Gita. So that means we go through one reading, that way we have some foundation, and then read Chaitanya. But some of you are there for devotion for a long time, so it's okay to read Chaitanya because you heard so many things already. You may not have systematically read readily, but you heard the basic philosophical foundation already. With that, you not shake. As long as you have the basic foundation, you can go through Chaitanya also. Nice question, Prabhuji. Any other comments or questions? Okay.